I'm going to be painting some wood flagstone terrain today. So, flagstone, wood. I primed it brown. Now, I thought it was going to be this brown, and it's turned out to be quite a red brown. So it's not what I was going for, but I think it will still be okay. What we're doing is painting some wood flagstone. Now, I will admit, I said I was going to do the base coat of a neutral grey. I have got a grey that is a neutral grey, but it's quite liquidy, and I wanted to do the sponge technique because, you know me, I love my sponge technique. So I've just made up a naff grey out of some naff acrylics, and I will sponge it on just as a base coat. Ah, yeah, see, I just love the sponge technique. I love it so much. Yeah. So the idea with the brown, when I thought it was going to be a more brown and less of a red brown, the idea was that it was going to be like the mud showing up through the flagstones. I'm less certain that's going to work out now, but we'll see. I'm going to be mixing the grey with a bit of green and stuff to give a sort of mossy look to it, so hopefully we can still get that going. I'm just going to sponge the grey on. This is quite a nice, it's not a wet paint, so it's not it's quite tacky, I would say, which I quite like with the sponge because it means that it doesn't go down the edges and fill all the cracks, so you get quite a nice definition. And we'll do the sponge over the top, and then we'll put another sponge layer on top of that of a different grey, and we'll sponge it while it's still not finished drying, and then hopefully they'll blend together quite nicely. Oh, and if you're wondering if I'm using a special sponge or something, no, this used to be part of my slipper, and then my slippers broke, so I thought I can steal that. I think it's the memory foam insole, I'm not sure. Basically, I saw a sponge and I was like, that's mine. But I also do this with washing up sponges, and it works just as good. The only thing is that I feel like Mum would have an issue if I just went and stole all her washing up sponges and put paint on them. So we're parts of slippers it is. Oh yeah, almost got this covered. And then we can start again with a different colour. Oh, look at that. We've got quite a nice greeny grey going on here. Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. That will be nice just to add a little bit of mouldiness to everything. Or moss. Probably moss rather than mould. Moss sounds a lot nicer than mould. Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Okay, I'm going to do it a bit less worried about getting complete coverage here. We're more just wanting to do a bit of blending and a bit of greeniness. Greeny grey. Hell yeah. Alrighty. Man. That's probably, oh boy. I kind of want to go over it in a green, more green, and then do more grey. I'm going to do just one more brighter green, and then, oh, hang on. This is where I've left the lid off and it's completely gummed up, but don't you worry, I can get in there. As you can tell, I'm very much a painting with what? I don't use fancy paints. I probably should, but I don't. Yeah. Oh. Alright, that is definitely got some different colour greens and some mossiness to it, I reckon. I do have a load of extra green. Don't really want to use that though. I feel like we are green enough. And I will let that dry, and then... Will I let that dry, or will I do the grey straight over the top right now? I could do the grey straight over the top right now, and then it blends a bit more. We could blend it more. Should we blend it more? I want to blend it more. I'm going to blend it. I'm going to blend it, and then we'll let it dry and do the highlights afterwards. Which shall we do? Which grey? Which grey? That one's a bit wetter. They're both quite wet, to be honest. I might go with this one. And shake the heck out of it. Psst, 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 psst. You want some dust? I got you dust. Oh yeah. And it's got dog hair and like little bits of paint in it. And, oh yeah, little bits of fluff from wool and different material. I got you, dust. Don't you worry. All right, it's probably not shaken enough, but I'm going to say it's shaken enough. Ooh, oh my God. Oh my God, look, I've shaken it and it's turned colour. Hang on, I need to stir this because I thought that they gave me the wrong colour. I'm now wondering if this literally was a brown the whole time and it just wasn't stirred. Oh my God. Oh my God, if I stir it, it turns brown. You guys, I done a boo-boo. I thought they'd given me the wrong colour, but it turns out that if you stir it, which really makes sense, if you stir it, it actually turns out it is the right colour. Well, that's okay. That's great. I'll use that later. That's actually really useful to know. God damn it, Annabelle. Yeah. Really could have thought of that one, couldn't I? That's okay. All right, I'm just going to use up this random little bit of brown and just quickly put it in a couple of different places just because it's here. Just to use it up, and then I'll move on to the grey. Oh, do you know what? I don't mind this brown on some of the tiles. It adds a nice little extra dimension to it. See, that's what I love about the sponge technique is you can just keep layering up colours, and it doesn't look bad. The more colours you layer up, the more it looks like you've really like made an effort to make it all blended and different colours, and like it just looks better, even though you haven't really, like, the sponge technique doesn't take much effort or skill. I'm gonna, which grey? Darkish grey. I think we've already got some dark. Let's do some light grey. Let's do some light grey. Let's live a little. Okay. Also, I've noticed that these paints dry super quickly. So I'm gonna put the lid on top and just like ease bits in every now and then. And try and do it with not too much on my sponge so that we don't like go directly over literally everything we've just done and make it grey. That's okay. I'm going to lightly sponge at the moment to get rid of some of the excess on my sponge, and as some of the excess goes, then I'll put a bit more pressure on to use up what's left. Right. Tell you what, you can barely see what I'm doing. Oh, you can see it a bit. You can see it a bit as a sort of like highlights. Yeah. You wait. We're going to do a bit of dry brushing, and then at the end, when it's dry, we're going to do a wash, and everything is just going to look... I promise. I'm going to give it like a few seconds to dry before I flip it over. The other thing I love about the sponge technique, real talk, is it doesn't really go over the edges, so you get nice clean edges with it. Which, don't underestimate nice clean edges. It makes such a difference when you don't have to go back and like paint over the top. Because my goodness, painting edges is like, it's really simple, it's really easy. Well, sometimes it's harder because you're trying to be quite accurate on a thin, narrow strip. So you know what, it's not always that easy, but it is simple. It's just boring. I just hate doing edges, you know? So when I paint terrain now, one of the key things of when I'm learning or creating a new way of painting terrain or like trying a new style for myself, my key thing is like how to do it so I don't have to deal with the edges. I'm just very cautiously turning everything over because I'm aware that it's not dry and I don't want it to stick to the table. So I'm just like lightly turning it over, hopefully. Oh, hello, just got a bit of paint in there. Go on. All right, I'm also, now I've turned over, I'm using, am I using leather brown? Yes, I am, I'm using leather brown. There you go. Wow. I did prepare in advance. And I'm putting a wee bit on my brush. When I say a wee bit, I mean quite a lot, but not too much, or so I hope. Oh, this is a nice brush, actually. This is one I inherited from my nanny. And it is a nice, soft brush that just does what you want it to do. I'm still, I'm just going to go down the edges here, because it's always nice if you go in the edges. I'm trying to brush it so it doesn't go over the edge too much, so it doesn't, like, we don't have to tidy up the edges. So I'm just trying to be a bit mindful of that when I go near the edge and not have too much paint on my brush. Because after all, it is quite brown underneath. Admittedly not the brown I wanted, but that's okay. It can be a sort of mahogany. So any bits we miss, that's fine. That just adds a mahogany texture to the wood. The idea here is that I'm trying to coat most of it. If I miss a wee bit, I'm not going to get out the cat o' nines. It's going to be okay. But I'm trying to get most of it. And then after that's done, I will dry over it with the brown that I really thought was grey, but turns out is actually brown. And a lighter brown, literally the colour that I wanted. Well, who knew? I bought the colour that I wanted. Who would have thought? So I will use that afterwards and do like dry brushing to bring out the texture of the wood grain is the plan. I mean, if you want to do things really simple, and what I'd originally planned to do was literally prime everything this brown, and then I was going to just do the brush and the wash, and that was going to be it for me painting the terrain. Unfortunately, I chose the wrong primer, so we're not doing that anymore. But that's okay. This is nice because it means we'll have a bit more texture to it and different layers of colour, which is always nice, to be honest. What is nice about having double-sided terrain is that you can sort of have the other side drying while you're doing this. As someone who's impatient waiting for things to dry, I can be doing the other side while it's drying. Sorry, I just like this paint. It's just a really nice... This one is by Aquacolor Ravel. And actually, I really like these for terrain because they're quite pigmented, so they just cover a lot. They've got quite a nice flow to them. They're just nice for doing terrain, in my opinion. And good for minis, to be honest. I've had good... Yeah, they work well for minis for me as well. So, just nice paint. But a little bit expensive. I think it was like, I want to say £7 for this pot. More than I'd like to spend. But it is good. And I mean, it does have a really lovely effect. Flows nicely, and it's just a nice colour and nicely pigmented. And you get a decent amount in your pot. So yeah, I recommend. Despite the price. So when I'm doing the edges, what I'm doing this way is I'm painting towards the edge so that my paintbrush doesn't get caught on the edge and put paint over the side, because then, you have to clean up the edges, and I don't like cleaning up things. So it's easier if you just avoid that entirely by painting towards the edge so it flicks not on the edge. But you wait till we get the highlights on. It's going to look hella good. Hella good. Hell yeah. Although I do notice that it's like a lot darker there than... Oh, maybe that's because this is wet. You know what? That would make a whole deal of sense, wouldn't it? That would make a great deal of sense. All right. I'm wondering, do I do the dry brush now or wait for the whole thing to dry and instead do the lighter grey dry brush on the other side? I think I should do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to be an adult. Okay. Here. Let's see if anything like grossly... Hey! Okay, we've got like a little bit of fluff, but that's alright. Look at that. Oh man, that's nice. And come on. I believe in you. There we go. Gosh darn it. There we go. You are not ready to stick together yet, my friends. You are not dry enough. And looking phenomenal, are you? Alright. So we've done a bit of the lighter grey. I think I'm going to go for the super light grey. Just going to shake it the heck up. Because, as we found out, they change colour when you shake them. Who knew? Literally everyone apart from me. I mean, I also knew this, but I was just lazy and didn't shake it very well and thought I had. Alright. I'm going to say that's shaken. I'm going to say it's shaken. Alright. Put some light grey on there. Hell yeah. Gonna take the worst off my brush. And let's see where we end up. Ah, yeah. See, I like this. Having such a dry brush when I'm dry brushing does mean it takes a bit longer, but it is showing up like nicely on the top of the surface. It does look nice. I tried to do it at a diagonal thing, so I don't really want to get lines on my tiles if I can help it. We'll see if I can help it though, because lines are usually when I've got a bit too wet paint on my brush, and usually about halfway through I get impatient and then I do put... Oh, there you go, not even halfway through. I'd put too much paint on my brush and then we get lines. That's okay. I'm just going to go over them in the opposite angle to help smooth those out. So we can't really see too much that it's a line. There we go. Now, people often do the wash and then the dry brush on top of the wash once the wash is dry. I'm not doing that because the wash takes forever to dry, and if I do that, then I will not be doing the dry brushing on stream. So I'm doing it this way round, but I just want to let you guys know if anyone is thinking of considering copying this, you can totally do the wash first, let it dry, like so dry, because you don't want it even a little bit damp when you do the dry brushing, or you get damp brushing, which is my specialty, and it doesn't look as good. As always, towards the edge, I'm trying to brush to the edge, not from the edge, so that I don't have to clean up my edges later. That is the plan. And I will say, if you are someone using cheap acrylics like I did with the green and black-grey base layer thing, definitely varnish the heck out of your terrain afterwards. Like, use a spray-on varnish, because they do peel if you, over time, or get stuck to each other, and then when you peel them apart, they peel or whatever, if you don't use a varnish. If you use a varnish, honestly, it seems totally fine to me. But it is a step that's, you know, worth doing. Particularly, I use a gloss varnish first to seal everything in, and then a matte varnish on top to make it look, you know, not glossy. God damn it. I told you that towards the end, I start getting lines in it because I get so, like, impatient. I knew it. Okay, it's okay. I'm going to take more off my brush. It's fine. I'm an adult. I can be patient. I'm not that patient. It's okay. I do like how it picks up the texture that the sponge has left. So something else that I love about the sponge work is it leaves texture on the tiles. And then when you go over it with your dry brush, it picks up that texture, which is really nice. Oh, yeah, that was definitely a line. Look at that. Oh, such line. Such line. That's okay. It's okay. Oh, and she did it again. It does look like sunshine on them, doesn't it? It's nice. When it dries a bit more subtle. I don't know if you can see over here, it's more subtle than over here, where it's wet. Super nice. One wash, a browny grey wash on these, and they will be banging. Dry brushing, it's not my favourite thing to do, but man, it looks good when it's done. Oh, hell yeah. Hells yeah. You wait. All right. So while that's drying, I'm going to flip it over, do the dry brush on the wood side, and then we'll do one last wash on this side, and then Bob's your badger. And look at that, the edges are so clean. Yes. Yes. Don't have to do extra edge work. Yes. So this is exciting. We're going to brush with the brown that I thought originally was grey because I hadn't shaken it. And now we're going to, having shaken it, do some dry brushing with it, which will be quite interesting. All right, let's see if this is good for dry brushing because it's quite soft, so I'm not convinced. Oh, hello. Oh, hello. Okay. Okay. Okay, this might be a good brush for dry brushing. Hey. Well, isn't that nice? Actually, I tell you what, that is quite nice. I quite like that. That is quite nice. Hey, 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 hey. What you do need to do when dry brushing the wood is dry brush it at an angle, because that way, if you dry brush it straight, vertical or horizontal, then it goes in the lines between the woods, and then it doesn't highlight the top of it so much. So it is dry brush at an angle for these ones. Oh, hell yeah. Man, it just makes it look so much more like 3D, I think, having the dry brush on top. Okay, we're quite close to being done. Just a couple more. I definitely put way too much paint on my paintbrush there. Can see it going all in the edges that it wasn't meant to go in. That's okay. That's all right. Yeah. Still looks good. Yeah. Dry brushing makes such a difference, you guys. Such a difference. It really does just like bring out the features in the terrain. Alright, we're nearly done. Nearly done. Okay. I would say we're done. I'm just going to stand up and have a proper look. Oh, we shall do a bit there to just try and hide that. In fact, we'll do it there as well, and we'll do it there, because why not? Okay, you can't keep doing it on every tile though. Stop. Stop. Okay. Maybe a bit extra on this one. I reckon... Oh, we'll do a little extra there. Oh goodness, that became a lot extra, didn't it? Very quickly. Alright. I think... to say that's that for the wood ones. Hell yeah. It really did end up being quite a nice brown, didn't it? I'll have to repaint over the top of the bottle. And then it does look very cool. Hey, hey. Thank you. Hey. Flip it over. Flip it over. Over. I don't know why I'm repeating that each time I do it. I've got a scalpel stuck to the bottom. Move away. There we go. Smashing. Move it there. Eh? There. Nice. That's sort of centered. There we go. Okay. And that actually feels pretty damn dry. That's all right. Hey. Okay. Now, making a wash. I can take some of my paint water because that is super brown. My brush cleaning water. But it's never clean, ever. I don't believe in clean paint water. Makes everything look far too nice. Alright, so what are we going to chuck in here to make... We want a nice dark greyish wash with a little bit of brown that's going to show off these terrain. I think some darkish grey will be nice. shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it. Oh yeah, that's super dark grey. Nice. A couple of drops. Oh, maybe that was more drops than I meant. That's okay. It'll be a very dark grey wash, that's fine. I'm just going to test it on a piece here. Oh, it's a bit too grey, really. Maybe we want some brown in there, after all. Okay, let's think about this. We want some brown. How about lead brown? This is like the end of a brown, so I haven't been using it. Wow, it's super gummed shut. There we go. I'm going to make it up using whatever's left in that, which is apparently not much. Okay, that has made it go a bit more brown though, which is nice. That's good because it gives I hope, gives the flagstones a sort of muddy-ish, walked-on look. I hope. That's the aim. Brown grey. Alright, just gonna do right over there. In fact, I'm gonna do right to the end and then I'll come back with my kitchen roll and sponge a wee bit of excess off. Come on, speak English, I believe in you. You wouldn't think English is my native tongue sometimes. Grading exams. Oh, lovely. Oh, the teacher's joy. Yeah, that sucks. Well, I don't know. It sounds like it sucks being at 4:30 a.m. grading exams, but maybe that's your jam. Maybe I can afford to be a bit wetter. I mean, there is plenty of wash. I'm going to be a bit wetter. Maybe I'll... I do you know, I'm real tempted to even do a second coat. We'll see. It does look good. I love washes. I swear to you, they fix everything in your life. Everything. Hey, you can see the difference the wash has made, like even like you can see the bits that are done and the bits that aren't done, and it does make a big difference. Oh no, I think I missed myself. That's great. I am a very messy painter, always. Hey. I think we're going to leave it there. So I tell you what, we're going to end stream there, and I will see you guys Wednesday is the next stream. So have good times, evenings, nights, mornings, days, wherever you are. Love you guys. Laters.